Welcome to 4K for you on Midnight's Edge. We're back. We're bad. And we're not black. Sorry,
2 out of
4K
3.
for you, so white.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'll take it.
I want you. I need you. Oh, don't get me started. Welcome, Valliant Renegade. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to be back live at 5 on a Wednesday talking 4K for you. Man, I think we've got some good stuff to talk about today because I got something in the mail yesterday that made me smile from ear to ear.
So did
we'll
I,
get
my
to that.
friend. Was it this?
It might have been that.
Oh. So yeah, we're going to talk about that, what we think about it, our first reactions. It's not going to be a review yet, kids, because clearly we haven't had the 20 hours to dive into this thing.
It might be more than that, all the special features.
But yeah, so we'll definitely give you our first reactions to it. There's been a few problems with it. We'll go over some news and rumors and all that good stuff. Take some of your guys' questions from the chat and all that business. But I just want to say hello to everybody. Hamdinger is here. Walloween is here. Intern of War is here. Hello, SP and El Parasito 2001. Welcome to the chat. We appreciate you being here. Shadow Cthulhu, Max Mercer's here. Doba Fett, Joey, I see you guys coming in here. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share. Send it out to the interwebs with a hash brown. Helps us out. So yeah, how's your week been, Valliant?
It's been good. Speaking of hash brown, it was kind of fun getting Sensei Johnny Lawrence's Twitter account to hit me back on a joke, which hash brown. If you're not following that Twitter account, it's
now is that like the real deal, or is that just some guy who just
no? I think it's just some guy. He does one.
It's not the same one that they have on the show because I was like curious about that myself. Yeah.
No. It's like a gag account, and it's Johnny Lawrence, and he has another one that he runs that's Daniel LaRusso, and they go back and forth at each other. He's blown up like within like 2 weeks. He was at 5,000 followers on Twitter. But it's funny. It's
I
like
don't even
everything
have that many.
I know, it's like everything he does. Think of like the Wendy's, like when Wendy's used to do all the trolling and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
that's what he does. He trolls.
Yeah, I've seen a
Daniel
few of them.
account.
I don't know if I'm to the Daniel
It's
one, but I think I'm on his.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Well, the Johnny Lawrence one is a lot more popular.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to get on the Daniel one.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. He dropped a couple a day, and just him ripping Russo. LaRusso is a pussy, hash brown, hash brown Cobra Kai. So everything's with hash brown something.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just funny. It's just good fun on Twitter. Rarities these days to have just good fun on Twitter.
So yeah, we're gonna get into all this business that's Ghostbusters oriented and some other news. Let's start off with some news, or at least release news, that is. Did you see this whole business with Chip and Dale that I posted on Twitter?
Oh yeah, not the male strip club, right? You're talking about
no.
Disney.
Yeah. Well, if it was a male strip club, it probably wouldn't even need that harsh of a fucking. Pardon my language, harsh of a warning label.
Yeah,
you try to keep it a little clean here. Sorry about that, but no.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring this up here because it was on my. I shared this out. I happened to discover it. I went into. Pre-order the Rescue Ranger, not Rescue Ranger, yeah, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers on, and because Disney's putting them out on Blu-ray, so it's like, oh, nice, And then I just happened to notice as I'm going into pre-order, there's this sticker or a warning, I should say. It's not a sticker because people have been calling it a sticker. It's not a sticker. It's on there permanently, folks.
It's printed. Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is just because of how weird it is. But there you see, kids, it's stories matter. This program includes negative depictions or mistreatment of people or cultures. Rather than remove this content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future.
Which I have to say, dead stop right there, because now this was the cartoon show, right? The series?
From the
That's
80s,
what I thought.
90s, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it in the afternoons. I mean, I was probably, I don't know, maybe 12 years old or something like that when it came out, but
I think it started like 89, 90, somewhere in there.
What on earth in this show would elicit such a stupid disclaimer? I don't remember anything in this show. What was the deal?
I don't know, to be honest. Some people have posited a few ideas of what it could have been. There, I guess, there was an episode where they were like run into an indigenous tribe or something like that, and they're like going to eat Chippendale and shit like that. So I
It's
suppose
a
the way they were
cartoon
depicted,
show.
I know, I suppose the way they depicted was a little insensitive. I believe there's a few other ethnic depictions in the show that might be a little not as PC as they probably would like, because this show is even pre-PC culture. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't
yeah,
watched it in 25
yeah, and then
years or whatever it's been.
there's a few minor things here and there, but nothing that I would say that constitutes that kind of a whoa warning label. And here's the thing: is look, I get it. I would rather have a label on it than have them delete it or not include it at all or what have you. But I've already stated my feelings on this on other shows, and I'm not going to get into that aspect of this. But no, I just thought that was kind of weird, and I wanted to get your feelings on that real quick.
It's
But
bizarre. It's almost. I'm kind of like, yeah. I'm glad you put it out there. Fine, put your stupid label on it because we can just look at it and laugh about it. I mean, I think it looks more ridiculous than anything, and it makes whoever had that decision to put that on there look more ridiculous than anything. Um,
yeah, we're sitting here trying to rack
it's
our
a damn
brains too,
cartoon
SP,
show.
trying to figure it out, right?
Hash
Yeah.
brown chipmunk justice.
Yeah, and then What No Graphics brings up the Ghostbusters Ultimate Collection is going for over 200 pounds already on eBay. I've seen
Not
some sets
surprised.
going for 250 on eBay from the US. We're going to get into all that here. But yeah, so we got a few announcements here. Now, you sent me something yesterday that kind of got us both a little excited. We're getting a movie on Blu-ray that has kind of eluded Blu-ray, and I think it's got a DVD release, but it's never been on Blu-ray before. Am I right? Top Secret
Yeah.
with Val Kilmer is coming from Paramount. I kind of had an idea that this was coming, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, I remember watching that movie as a kid, just laughing my butt off. I mean, and again, it was one of those movies that was kind of frequently rented from the video store. I remember kind of that, and I think Kentucky Fried Movie was around the same time. And I remember renting those
a little bit
two a
before it, I
lot.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little before. But I remember renting it, and I remember just enjoying the heck out of it. And then I think as time went on, I don't remember if I have it. It might be in my Laserdisc library, but if it is, I think that was the last time it had ever been dropped on a new media format. I don't remember if it was on DVD or not. But it's been forever. Oop, did I lose Tom?
Sorry, I was typing.
Oh.
Because I was just going to say we are giving away a digital copy of Ghostbusters Afterlife in 4K. Stay tuned, kids. We
Yes, indeed.
got a code for that for you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That was one thing. And as we said, we are going to talk about a few Blu-ray announcements here and there, since chances are a lot of those announcements will never get 4K releases, like one that I'm kind of excited about from Vinegar Syndrome. And that is, it looks like they finally worked out all the licensing crap behind Drop Dead Fred. Are you familiar with this film from the early
Yes.
90s?
Yes, that was so was Phoebe Cates was in
Phoebe
that?
Cates, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great flick.
Oh god.
I love that movie.
That
And
was so bizarre. I remember I actually saw that in the theater, and I think I might have seen that twice in the theater because it was just so zany. I remember going with my dad. I'm like, "What the hell?" I remember seeing the previews and the trailers for it. It was just off the wall. Just completely nuts. But it's
no,
fun.
yeah, I actually have the import Blu-ray of it. It's so looking, but this is a brand new 2K restoration from the original 35 millimeter interpositive. And it's got all kinds of bonus features on it. A long list, including commentaries, interviews, a bunch of featurettes. It looks like I'm not going to list them all because there's so many here. Deleted scenes and more. Can't wait to check that out. Vinegar Syndrome, that's a big title for them because they usually are really into like the exploitation B movie grindhouse type stuff. So for them to get their, because this is something that they've been working on for a while, I guess, that they couldn't get the clearance for. So obviously they finally did. So I'm glad they did because that needs an American release. And the one I have isn't the best anyway. So it needs it. Other than that, Cursed is coming to Blu-ray, it looks like, from Scream Factory. No word on if they'll be doing a 4K release, so I'm just assuming just a 2K. That would be the Wes Craven, Christine Ricci werewolf film from back in the day. I don't know if you remember that one at all. One of Jesse Eisenberg's early ones.
Vaguely. I gotta probably if I saw a few clips of it, it would
It
click
was
in my
also
head.
written by Kevin Williamson, of course, who did Scream. So yeah, that one's coming. Doesn't say what the master is on it, so I can't say I'm not. I'm gonna assume it's just. It doesn't even say if it's a new 2K master, so it's probably whatever they were given by. I believe Miramax owns that, so it comes through Paramount now. Then we got Night Creatures also coming from there. That is a new 2K master though. So any fans of that classic horror film will be happy to see that coming from Scream, aka Shout Factory there. The classic 1977 Tentacles is coming from Kino Lorber. And speaking of 4K and Scream Factory, we're getting Happy Death Day on 4K and Happy Death Day to You as well. It looks like both coming to 4K. So there you go. That's news there. And other than that, just kind of not as many news, not as much news as we're used to. But
Yep.
Arrow did announce that they're doing 12 Monkeys in 4K. Are you a fan of that film?
Yeah, I think I feel like we talked about it. Was it last week or
Maybe because I
feel
think
like
it was rumored like a couple weeks ago. So
might have
like
been on
2,
Meet
3
or
weeks
something.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we actually have an official announcement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming, and the date I have here, sorry, let me bring that up. Looks like
I think it's in the
April
next
26th.
I was going to say I think next 2 months.
And they also have the list of extras out there now too if you want to check that out. We always say check out Blu-ray.com because they usually have the most updated specs on everything. And then why don't you
I
vamp
did
for
see
just 2
where I
seconds
think
here?
because I know we talked about this one before. The Beatles Get Back got a delay.
Oh yes, thanks for reminding me. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's up with that now? I know that.
Well,
I know part of
talking
it,
about,
but...
we've talked about like they should have people that do quality control. Well, apparently somebody was actually doing some flipping quality control on this one. There was some, from what I read on Digital Bits, there was some audio glitch in the soundtrack that was just, I mean, they didn't describe exactly what it was, I
Oh
don't
really?
think. And they said, "Oh, wait, never mind. Bring it." I mean, you cannot have an audio glitch in the
Hey, at
freaking
least they
Beatles.
caught it. That's some
Yeah, that's what I'm
QC.
saying.
Then that's something we've had a lot of issues with lately, if you haven't noticed, and we'll get into that with Ghostbusters.
Yep. So I don't
Quality
think it
control,
says.
kids.
It's just saying that. I mean, I'm reading from the article now. Disney has informed
Oh, that
us, the
reminds me, we
Digital
didn't even
Bits.
talk about this, did we?
What's that?
Because we missed last week. I made I made the news in the digitalbits.com.
Oh, I completely missed that.
Yeah, I found exactly what was wrong with Hard Day's Night 4K.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah. We didn't get a chance to talk about this. So
Well,
sorry,
by all
quick
means.
detour, kids. Yeah, needless to say, even though it looks amazing, somehow, some way, Criterion fucked up the 4K release of Hard Day's Night, even though they already did this once already. They mastered it in 4K before for the Blu-ray. With the Blu-ray is fine. But for some reason, at the very end of the movie on the 4K, there's like 2 scenes completely out of whack. And I went and checked them out, and I didn't even have to go back to my old DVD to figure it out because it's just fine on their old Blu-ray that comes from supposedly the same exact 4K master. So I'm guessing they must have went back and redid the 4K version for this Blu-ray, and they fucked it all up. Now, rumor is or what, at least what we've heard, a little rumbling, I should say, more or so, is they are planning on fixing it, but we don't know anything yet. And they made it a fucking nightmare to get your fix for Citizen Kane. So hopefully it's not as bad as that. But basically what it boils down to is there's a shot of John completely out of place in one part of the movie. And then here, let me bring up a picture here. Then you have one shot that ends up, where the hell are we? Jeez, I got too many windows open. Then we have this one shot here that is supposed to be at the end, but
Oh, you
instead
did show me this. I
this
didn't realize
shot
you
is in
did.
there
Okay.
twice. Yeah. So they ended up putting this shot in there twice instead of actually having this shot in there the second time. So that's where
Yes.
they fucked up. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't even have to go back to my original Miramax DVD to check it out because it was fucked up right away. I could tell from just going to the Blu-ray. So if you have the old Blu-ray and you know whatever, that's fine. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
might
think
want to
you
keep that in
told me
mind.
about this. You sent me pictures and you said, "Look at this," but I don't. Maybe at the time it hadn't gotten into the digital
I
bits yet.
think, yeah, and he posted that. I think it was Monday because I sent that to him over the weekend.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it was probably. I think it was last week we talked about that,
yeah,
or you sent me a picture over the weekend. I think.
yeah, I might have sent you the tweet to it or whatever that could be. But yeah, so other than that, we haven't gotten too many rumors really out of the rumor mill. It's been kind of quiet. The only other thing we did get an update on was we got some specs for Dream a Little Dream coming to Blu-ray from Vestron. So that's out there. Other than that, there hasn't been anything new that I can see here because I think most of these we already brought up. Candyman, I think we brought that one up before. Matrix got a release date, but oh well. Some people who may be curious about the 4K releases of Star Wars that are coming out, I think in the UK it is. To my knowledge, they are just a repackaging of the old 4K releases in a new box. But until I know for sure, I'm going to say that for now. But yeah, that's about all I have as far as new stuff. Because we mentioned Tommy Boy on the last one, right? And all those ones that were announced before. It looks like I think we're
Yeah, I seem to
definitely
remember.
past. Yeah,
I think the only thing new besides what we are about to talk about that I've
yeah.
gotten since the last show was probably Dune.
Oh,
Um,
how that? I got the
I
3D one.
haven't got a chance to watch it yet. It's pathetic, I know. But yes, it's on my queue. But I'll put it this way: like I turned it on. I knew I didn't have time to sit there and watch the whole thing, but I turned it on and I jumped to a couple of scenes just to get a quick visual of how well this transfer did, and it's pretty.
Okay,
It's
so what
pretty.
Doba Fett is saying is Criterion is making you write your name on the UHD disc and send them a photo and get a replacement. Okay, that's not as bad as what I guess you had to do to go through. But hey, Doba Fett, if you do have my have me on Twitter, if you know a link to any of that stuff, please send it to me. That'd be awesome. That way I can get that out there. I'd appreciate that. And then I can get my own replacement. Because I wasn't worried about the Citizen Kane one, but this one I am. So
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, I think other than that, I think we covered the main news and rumors because I can't think of anything else that I've heard about recently that needed to be addressed. So with that, sadly, we haven't had a chance to really dig into the Ghostbusters box set yet, but our initial reactions are holy shit.
Yeah,
There's more
pretty much.
stuff on here than I know what to do with right now. Wow. I skimmed through a few of the special features, and I mean, my God, I have not seen a set like this since. Honestly, I don't know if there's a comparison to this. I really don't.
I No, not really. I mean, this is the slip cover that goes on the outside, folks. Really, just kind of get a little bit of the
I mean, the
proton
amount of
pack,
special features you get
and
on
then
here. Uh,
let's open up, do
there's actually a little
the
slot at the top. I don't
unboxing.
know if you saw that here.
Yeah, it pushes the doors out. Yeah, yeah, it pushes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of neat. But in here, you've got Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Afterlife. You got a special features disc, which you probably spend 6 to 10 hours watching the
There's
stuff that's
two
on there.
special features discs
Yeah.
actually.
And then you've got the book that's in here that includes, amongst other things, you've got the original screenplay, and you've got a lot of behind the scenes, like artist renderings, shots, things that, some of the original concept art, some of the, models and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of this is going to be covered in the actual behind the scenes special features portions of the disc. You can see on set when they were miniature, working with the miniatures of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. This is cool. I mean, it really has so much stuff in it. And as if that wasn't enough, if you actually pull everything out,
Yeah, it lights up really nice. Yeah.
the trap lights up. It's
There's a little
loaded with
sensor there right on the left
yeah,
bottom.
with some green LEDs. I mean, it's wicked. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. It's like, you want to charge me $100 for a box set, I'll take it.
Right? Well, and
Because
let's
guess what? They're gone.
yeah, that's the other problem is right now if you want to get your hands on this, it's difficult. to say the least, as we brought up earlier. But no, like as far as box sets go, I don't know if I can say I've had a better box set than this. Even this beats even Lord of the Rings, man. Like
Oh yeah.
the
I
amount of
mean
stuff that's on here. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say from a standpoint of, I mean, I know you got special features and stuff, but just from a standpoint of this is cool, this is actually like physically a neat collectible. This is much better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed, and by this, and then just getting to the special features aspect, like if this wasn't even in a really cool packaging, like if it was just straight up like just kind of like the Karate Kid set, where it was just the movies
Yep.
in
Well,
a regular
the
box, I'd
4K
be fine with
sets,
that. But
the 4K box set I have of the extended edition of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, it's just the movies. I mean, it's just a box with the movies in it. It's nothing spectacular in terms of physical presentation. This is wicked. Like I said, the book is really cool, and like I haven't got a chance to look through it in great detail yet. I'm sure I will. And the special features, I was telling Tom before we started the show, I said, this is one of those things where I'm going to have just kind of a piss off day on a weekend where I don't do anything,
yeah,
and I'm like,
there's
I'm
a
just going to sit
future
on the
4K.
couch and just watch.
There's a future 4K for you where we just talk about how we feel about this box set, all the good stuff in it.
Yeah,
Even if it's a pre-recorded thing, we'll get it out there. Don't worry. It may even be a special,
yeah.
something like that, because again, it's going to take us so long to get through all this stuff.
Oh
And I
my
want to do
god.
a very good job of going through it all. But
Yeah.
Cedar Stuff has a very, very good question here.
Hmm.
May have missed it. Does Ghostbusters 1 and 2 have a new transfer, Dolby Vision? Now, technically, no, it is not a new transfer, but it does have Dolby Vision. So they did go back and at least give it the Dolby Vision treatment.
Hmm.
So it technically is a new disc, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah. I
still
mean,
just
they didn't have to go back
because the
and put
original
the
4K was from the
film.
4K from the negative. So
Right. Yeah. You don't. They didn't have to go back and rescan negatives. They already had it. Everything scanned in. When you're adding Dolby Vision, it's basically you're at a post production process at that point. Once you have the original negative scan, they had already done all the restoration. They had fixed all the cigarette burns or the scratches and crud in the film. They did the color grading that they wanted. All they then had to go back in, and once they basically update their software with Dolby Vision, they can go in and lay that Dolby Vision
I have
layer
not had a
on top.
chance though to like compare them side by side though. So again,
No.
that's something we'll cover for sure.
Yeah. Now I
Um,
did get to watch
and
I did
yeah, I
watch
guess they also have
Afterlife.
the original
Yeah.
stereo mixes too. I guess according to SP, that's
Yeah.
cool. And now you said you did get to watch Afterlife. So how's that look?
It looks great. I was really impressed. Now the only issue is that it's a 4K upconvert from 2K, but again, we've talked about on the show before, that's not incredibly unusual in this day and age in the digital era because of the amount of post-production CGI obviously had to do on this. Most of that is still done right now where they're doing 2K intermediaries and then scaling it back up to 4K. So there is a bit of a loss. So one of the things that Blu-ray.com talked about, they gave the 4K disc a 4 and the Blu-ray disc a 4.5 out of 5. I was a little bit more impressed than they were with the 4K. You didn't really get as much of an uptick in detail, and that was kind of their complaint because, of course, it was up converted from the 2K intermediary. That being said, I think the Dolby Vision and the HDR grading made a ton of difference. I mean, I will tell you, and I'll get to the soundtrack in a minute because that was gangbusters. Oh my God. But visually, obviously, this movie has a lot of shadow detail, a lot of black levels detail. So you think of, hot, you think of whites, highlights, midtones, shadows, and blacks. That's kind of how the scale goes when it comes to color grading. And if you ever work in photography or video, you'll understand that. But those shadows and those blacks, those two bottom levels of brightness, this is where HDR really can draw out a lot more depth in an image, especially in 4K, especially with HDR and Dolby Vision. Man, the shadow detail, the depths of the blacks, especially in that opening sequence where you got Egon out there, as the setup for the story, and of course he's all in shadow. There's lots of just dark areas, and they hold up beautifully. The blacks are very black, and there's still depth and detail in it. It was really an impressive image as far as I was concerned.
Wasn't this shot on film?
It may have been, at least
I'll
in
have to
part.
look.
I don't remember. But I mean, the problem is, even when you're shooting on film these days, you're scanning the film in at a 4 or 6K resolution.
Yeah. I think this is a
But
4K from
then
beginning to end finish, though. But yeah. Sorry.
if it was, then you might be right.
I think so. I'll have to double check, but I think it was.
I mean, that would have been great if it was. If Sony, but I mean, the bottom line is, for
They've
me, as
been pretty
far as
good
I'm
about doing that,
concerned,
actually, because even the last Ghostbuster movie was 4K from beginning to end, actually.
was it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm a little surprised that I was not aware.
No,
But
Sony's actually been one of the few companies that's been pretty darn good about that. There's only been a few that they've done that have been 2K up converts in the last 5 years or so.
Well, this was just according to Blu-ray.com, and maybe they had it wrong. I just they
Blu-ray,
they listed
whatever
it.
Blu-ray.com has is probably right. I'm sorry.
No,
What did
I
they
would
say?
more often than not, but they
Is
did
it
list
digital?
they listed it as 4K up convert.
Oh, is it really?
That's what they said.
Wow, I thought. Wow,
let me.
I'm surprised.
Let me pull it back up. I looked at it a couple days ago. All right, let's look. Ghostbusters Afterlife 4K.
Then again, they did spend more than half of what they did on the last movie on this.
It does, yeah. It does list it as upscaled 4K.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought it was 4K from beginning to end, because I even thought from one of the cameras I saw that it was that they were using film anyway, but
they may have been. And I've seen some of these guys that they'll mix film with digital, so it may not have been every scene that was shot in film. Who knows? But the bottom line is this: is that for me, I was perfectly happy with the transfer. Could there have been maybe a little bit more fine detail that could have resolved if it had been 4K end to end? Sure. Did it look by any stretch of the imagination bad? Not in the least. It looked amazing to me. And this is, look, Sony has a good track record, obviously, of producing these 4K discs. I can't really think of something that Sony completely whiffed on. I mean, it's not like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, like Disney apparently just completely whiffed on Pirates of the Caribbean, which is just tragic. One of the biggest movies they've ever had, and they completely pwned that one and screwed the pooch. Just
I don't understand that move one bit.
No.
But Centrivez Gaming says no lights or codes on the UK version of the Ultimate Edition. Yeah, it looks like most of the foreign versions have not gotten codes at all, and or don't light up. And again, I have no idea if this is something to do with whoever manufactures it overseas, and Sony has little say in that, or it was going to cost them that much more overseas to do it that way. I think that's shitty, but it's one of those things that it was probably a cost effectiveness, or
depending on where they're making them.
Exactly, it could have been a number of things.
Anytime you're going to ship something with a battery in it, especially international, it creates a new layer of stuff to deal with legally. I mean, it's like, think of when you get a box, you buy a computer or you buy anything that has a battery, the box shows up with that battery label, battery disclosures on the side of it. If you have to move that between countries, I'm sure it creates even more international.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too, is like, yeah, it could even be very well something like that. So, on that note, though, we're going to get into the other part of this story, which is there's been some issues with it. We've got QC problems across the board again with this situation, and we're going to get to that here. But Sean Stackhouse, my buddies in the chat, says, I hate that I missed my chance to get the set. It sucks that Sony doesn't have any plans to restock it, because that's a lot of money to be made. Now, granted, this is a great segue into this next part. I'm gonna say this up front. I have zero going on to go on this, but I'm willing to bet that Sony is going to re-release this just minus the trap.
Yeah.
And this is just a hunch, and it may not have the book, but I have a feeling they'll at least re-release it with the special features and the discs themselves in like a much more slimmed down package. I could be wrong, but I think what they're saying is they're not going to do this trap thing again, because I think Valiant's right that they probably had a lot of issues shipping this thing with the lights and some of the other stuff they had to deal with, that they're probably not going to mess with this again. Now the discs, though, I bet you they're going to have an exchange program for those who have had problems with the disc. So let's get to that, because the versions of the discs that are in there are basically just they're the retail versions with cool slip covers is all they are. In fact, as brought up in the chat here just a second ago by where'd it go here? Just here, yeah. Doba Fett says no slip covers in the UK box either. See,
So it's probably if they're manufacturing those overseas, which they probably very well are, then it's just.
And I'm not going to say that you're going to be successful at doing this, but you could try, since the versions that are in the slip covers are basically the retail versions. As long as they released the newer versions of the retail versions, here's the thing you got to check and make sure they have the Dolby Vision on them, probably, to know if you're getting the older version or the newer version, because I think the covers are exactly the same. I could be wrong, though. Either not. If not, I have to double check. And if they release the standard versions at like Walmart or Best Buy, a lot of these places you might be able to just go in and exchange it right in the store. Now, I don't know how easy they're going to make it in a lot of places, but Walmart is generally an easy place to exchange stuff like that. Even if you bought it from somewhere else, then they might. Again, I don't recommend it, but you know. But in most cases, though, because this is what the problem they're running into is, since they're not making any more of these, people are going to have problems exchanging them. I have a feeling Sony's going to set up an exchange program for those who got duplicate discs, because I guess that's what's happening is some people are getting 2 of Ghostbusters 2 4K, some people are getting 2 of Ghostbusters 1 4K, and not the other, obviously. So this is becoming an issue in the US side of things, to add to the other problems that other people are having with just the standard issues of no slip covers, the lights not working right because they don't have the lights, I should say, and so on. So hopefully Sony will do something about that part at least. I do understand them not making any more of these box sets. I was not under the impression they were limited, but seeing how complicated these things are and how much they probably cost for them to put together, I can imagine they're just not going to see it as a cost-effective thing to do it again. And they'll just release it like they did Karate Kid and probably a standard box set. I could be wrong, but what do you think, Valiant?
No, I think you're on the money. I look. I mean, you look at this thing. This was obviously a much more in-depth manufacturing process because it's not just a box. Forget the fact for a second that it's got batteries in it. It's got LEDs in it, and a trigger for when you pull the discs out, and a sensor to make it light up. You've also got a box that has to flip open. Special graphics all over it. This is not something you can just walk back down to the factory floor and say, hey, just chunk out another 1,000. You pretty much, you have to set a limited number because, again, even the movies themselves, and I'm going to draw this to everybody's attention, the movies themselves, I mean, you've still got, it's special slip covers, right? So this is not like if you go buy the retail version individually of these things, these are not the slip covers that come on them. These are all special. Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and that's why I said if you pull off the slip covers, though.
The discs inside are the same, but this is what you have, as far as the artwork that's special to each one.
I just went out of focus.
I know. There we go.
Oh, I love that artwork of Vigo, though. I was like,
it's really super cool. But I mean, my point is that's the kind of thing that you're not going to get. But yeah, what Tom is saying is, beyond that, if you pull this out the case, yes, this is what you'll see. And my camera just not liking me today.
So yeah, as I was suggesting, if maybe like your local Walmart happens to have the new releases of them, they might let you go in and exchange them so you don't have to fuck around with whatever Sony does later. But again, I can't recommend that's going to actually work. It's just a possibility if you happen to be one of the individuals who sadly got a multiple disc in the set. Because to me, I think the bigger part is if they're not going to release anything out of here, that is going to be the bonus features. Right. So because before this, when they had that Steelbook version, the reason that was going for such excessive amounts online wasn't because of the movies. It was because of the bonus disc that came with it that you couldn't get otherwise. Yeah. And that may be what happens here. If that's the case, then I apologize to folks because that's a real shitty move on Sony's part.
And the snazzy book.
Yeah, and the snazzy. Well, the book and the box, I can understand them not releasing. But if they at least release, the 8-disc set or whatever with just the movies, the Blu-rays, and the 2 bonus discs, I think people will at least be happy enough with that.
Mhm.
Because I don't think as many people are so worried about. I mean, I'm sure some people are worried about the box, but I mean, come on, what really people want to get into, and that's what I wanted to talk about now is I scanned through some of the special features, and holy shit, this is what I was
Mhm.
saying at the upfront. Like, I don't feel like there's ever been a movie with this extensive amount of special features. Like, I mean, you get dailies, you get the early rough cut of the film, a shit ton of new deleted scenes for part two, the TV versions of both movies. I mean, we went all through this stuff already, but I mean, I'm going through this, and they even have like the auditions for Dana, and these aren't short or auditions either. They're like 15, 20 minutes each, some of them.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when I was said 20 hours to go through this shit, I'm not kidding because that's literally what it says on the box is how many special
I see.
features.
I haven't even pulled the special features
On the
disc.
box it says
I
over
was too
20
afraid to
hours of
because I said
special
if I pull
features.
this out, my day's shot, and I got too much to do because I'll be
I
sitting
know.
here. I'm
I've
like,
been
I
hovering
got to
over
plan
it,
a day
like
to do it.
drooling over it like Slimer would over a plate of food, but I just haven't had a chance to really get into it other than just scan through a few things quickly and just check it out real quick. So again, I want to get more in depth. I want to check it out even more. So hopefully I get that chance soon. But I'm just floored how much stuff is on this box set.
Yeah, it's I
It
I
appears everything from before has been carried over, obviously, so go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it is. Like I said, I've been really blown away. I think this is one of the might be the nicest box set I've ever had in terms of not only the contents of it, but just the overall the appearance, the construction, the thought that went into putting this thing together. And I've had some box sets I've really liked over the years. I mean, like I said, I still love, like I've talked about on the show before. One of my favorites is still my old Jaws Laserdisc, the CAV version of Jaws, which was like the really the higher quality version of Jaws back in the day
Yeah.
when it was on Laserdisc. But the box set came with obviously the movies. It came with a sealed CD copy of the soundtrack, the original soundtrack. It came with the original a paperback version of the original novel. It was cool. It was something really different. And I got some other box sets that I liked, but I mean that was kind of always one that stuck out because of what they put in there. Amadeus was another great Laserdisc box set that I have. I think it was CAV edition, and it was kind of the same thing. They had this really nice 24-bit original master recording of the entire soundtrack on a CD or two CDs in there in the box set with the Laserdisc for Amadeus. But this one is up there. This is the first time I've really bought one of these things that I've been completely impressed with what I've gotten. And I mean, I know they've had other box sets out there for other movies in the past where it's like a box set, but it's the movies, but then they stick in a bunch of toys and trinkets.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the swag
Th-
unless it's something really
yeah,
cool.
this is actually a box.
It's functional. Yeah.
It's yes, it's not just like an extra toy they threw in next to it that you put on your desk. The set itself of discs and the container that the discs is in is just so sweet.
It reminds me of the Back to the Future set that came in the flux capacitor, even though I hated that came in like a folder book thing. But
I
the flux
remember I didn't
capacitor
buy
bit
it,
was
but
cool as shit. Oh, I still got it. It's on top of one of my shelves. I
okay.
love that fucker. My kid wants it every time. I'm like, nope. It's mine.
Yeah.
He can have it when I die, I tell him.
Oh my lord.
Immortal Remus has sent us a very generous super chat here. Thank you so much. It says, odd that this gets released now instead of 2024, the 40th anniversary of the original Ghostbusters film, and gets promoted all the way to the moon. Interesting. Here's the thing is I'm willing to bet Immortal that they're going to try and have another Ghostbuster movie out by 2024. I could be wrong, but I think
Hope
it
so.
makes sense for the anniversary. And oh yeah, these will get real. Sony has released Ghostbusters more times than any other movie because it's the biggest movie they got,
Yep.
especially by inflation. Like I'm serious. Like I don't think there's been less than 5 releases of Ghostbusters now between 4K and regular Blu-ray, even maybe more than that. Because I've
Probably.
bought
And
almost
that
every
doesn't
single one of them.
include VHS, Laserdisc,
Oh no,
DVD,
I'm not even
everything
going back
else.
to
Yeah.
DVD or nothing like that. I'm talking just Blu-ray and 4K.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're still making bank off of this. And look, that's just it. Especially right now where and Sony's paying attention. They sold out of the ultimate box set within a couple of days of its release. Like if you didn't have it pre-ordered, you were screwed. It just wasn't going to happen. And think what,
Yeah.
Tom, you and I pre-ordered it. It's been 2 months ago, a month ago at
I did
least.
the day it came out. I got to be one of
Yeah.
those lucky individuals who got it for the Walmart fuck up price.
Yep. Well, Amazon matched it. In fact,
Yeah.
because I had it pre-ordered and it was 150, and then it dropped to 99. So by the time they shipped it to me, I locked in that lower price.
Yeah, I got it for
Um,
88, but yeah, then I
yeah.
know, a few people who actually got discounts 'cause theirs are running late,
Hmm.
and since they probably can't replace it, I don't know if other people have gotten other things out of it. So, yeah, again, but one way around that, I mean, if you're somebody who bought it from, like, Amazon or something like that, and they're not sure how to replace this because of the whole situation, I'm not sure if the individual releases are available on Amazon. I'd have to look, but maybe they can work that out with you. Again, I can't guarantee you these things are gonna work, guys, so
Yeah.
you can't go and say, "Well, Tom on 4K for you said that you would do this." No, I don't know if they will.
We
So
don't make the rules.
again, so I'm just saying you could try it. Might help, might work. It's the best I can give you.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. See, Ghostbusters 1 and 2 have already been released 3 times in 4K in the span of 5 years. Exactly. Even though the one tin was or the steelbook was a re-release of those, but yes, these are actually newer versions
Yep.
ish with asterisks.
Hmm.
I would
Well,
say.
Sony's watching this and they see what's selling, and they're going to see the clamor for more of these box sets. People that missed out, people that really want them. They know it's going for $200-300 on eBay right now, and that's a sign to them to let's make more of this. And of course, as we've discussed about this movie before, I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry, but I mean the end credit scenes or the post credit scenes, um, it keeps the door wide open. I
No, that was
mean,
me actually saying I don't have clout, right?
the
I know you
exact
were kidding,
opposite
HVP.
of the
Yes.
cloud, yes. No, but I mean, they left it open with that last scene with Winston
Yeah.
walking into the firehouse, and uh, basically it's all there. All the pieces are there for them to continue this, and I think they will. And I know, Tom, you mentioned this the other day on either Mead or on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. Obviously, we all wished the movie didn't do poorly by any stretch, but we wished it had done better.
No,
And
it
I,
just
and I totally
finally
agree.
just barely beat 2016's box office, so
Yes, but
which
it
is
did it
not
on
anything
half
to
the
brag
budget.
about.
It's
See,
not,
yeah.
but it did it on half the budget, number one. Number two, the fan response to it was universally just overwhelmingly positive. People really loved it. And I mean, look, I'll tell you, even watching Afterlife again last night for the third or fourth
I
time
know I wanna watch it again so bad.
is I mean, it had me choking up at the end. I mean, it's a beautiful
Still
story.
gets you in the cockles, huh?
It does. It gets me right in the cockles. It also pisses me off, and not to go into another side, but it pisses me off because when I see that, it takes me immediately back to, my God, for $75 million, this is what Sony knew how to pull off.
No
No
shit, right?
bullshit. And Lucasfilm spent
Well, and that might be why it's
1.5.
not in 4K too, but sorry.
Yeah, no. But my point is that in Lucasfilm spends 1.5 billion making new Star Wars after Disney buys it and blows it to
Well,
hell.
even just going off of the 2016 film is more than a better, but no, you're right on the
Yeah,
whole other thing too.
but it's
Yeah.
like, but my standpoint is, from the respect to the traditional characters, the reunion, the
No,
respect
to
to
me,
the
this was
character of
almost as good as
Egon.
Cobra Kai. It's not quite as good, and yeah, and I understand there's some people who didn't like the film, and but for the most part, people have loved it. I agree. It would have been nice to get a bit more of the guys, but hey, to me, the movie worked.
Yeah, it did.
That McKenna Grace, she carried that movie so well.
Yeah, she did. She did great.
Um,
She was fabulous.
I mean, if you don't like her, then obviously you're not going to like the movie. We've already established that on other reviews. So, but
Oh,
that's
look,
not we're
I
not
could sit here
reviewing the
and
movie
nitpick
so much.
certain
But yeah,
things in the film I didn't like. I mean, like, I
yeah,
could nitpick. I could nitpick the freaking Godfather if I tried hard enough. But I mean, that's just it. It's like, I don't. The nitpicking issues, I don't care. There was so much that was so good in that movie that anything that there was to nitpick about, if anything, was
yeah.
wiped out. I don't give a shit.
Slimer needs an update quick on what's going on. Evidently, there's some of the box sets people are getting multiple discs of the same movie and not of the other. So, like, some people are getting the 4K version of two Ghostbusters ones, and then some people are getting two Ghostbusters twos instead of the other. So, like, they're missing the other, if that makes sense. I know it sounds convoluted, but if you could
Mhm.
explain it better, because I suck at explaining this kind of shit. But I
Well,
don't know. Yeah, that's basically it.
well, yeah, as far as that's the screw up that I saw with the you're talking about with the Ghostbusters set, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was curious what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they somebody just packaged up the wrong discs in there, it looked like.
Yeah, and again, that's something that was kind of what we were getting at too. Is these kind of box sets like this goes through like probably 3 different facilities, because I guarantee you this box was made somewhere else
Oh
from where
yeah,
the Blu-rays were made, and then they were packaged in a third facility. That's probably the case. So that's why I
absolutely.
say like there's so many situations where this could have happened, but obviously this happened in the middle situation. But DJ is Weidman is pointing out that I guess Sony customer support has an email, and yes, they do. And he's waiting for an reply. And he saw on Reddit that some people are already hearing the issue has been upgraded. So that's good. At least they're addressing it already. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to. Um, Again, I mean, shit like this happens. You know, it's a QC thing. This is something we've talked about before. This
Mhm.
is something that not, I mean, this is clearly in the plant where they were packing these discs. Somebody fucked up. It
Oh
was
yeah.
somebody's first and probably last day on the job,
Well, I don't know if it's I
or it
mean,
will be now.
yeah. Things will happen, but well, usually because the actual disc itself from what I read, from what I saw, looked like was the issue. So, for example, if you opened up your box of Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2, instead of having a Blu-ray and a 4K, you had two 4K discs, or you had two Blu-ray discs, something, and the discs have they were colored differently
Yeah.
inside the box, which kind of makes you wonder, is okay, how could you pull that one off? And just so everybody can see what I'm talking about. So here's Ghostbusters 2.
Here, of course, I closed it. There were some examples here. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see the colors of the disc are very different. So if my damn camera will cooperate today. You know why? Because the camera's set to facial recognition, so I'm
Oh,
screwing it up.
yeah. So put it
So
behind
here we
you.
go. But you
There
can
you
see
go.
yellow and green. There you go. So yellow and green. I mean, but they would put two green discs in there or two yellow discs in there. So I
Or
don't
it
know
would
if that's
be,
being
or actually, they were getting Ghostbusters 2 in the pack that was supposed to be Ghostbusters 1,
yeah, or
is what
something
it
like
looked
that.
like.
Yeah, and I
Um,
don't know if that's. I mean, at the rate they pack these things, I kind of got to think that they're probably machine packed. So that means somebody would have loaded the machine. Like if you put a batch of, okay, this is the Ghostbusters 2 cases, load those through, but somebody had a batch of Ghostbusters 1 discs still in the
yeah.
hopper that was feeding them into the cases. And I mean, it's all packed up and shot out.
Something
Eh,
happened at some point, and on both ends, I think it got
yeah.
fucked up.
And
Yeah.
then they wouldn't know because again, if it's done by machine, it's just zipping through there. If nobody was physically inspecting each of those cases as they were
But
coming
yeah,
out of the
basically, some
machine.
people are getting 2 Ghostbuster 2s and not getting a Ghostbuster 1, and some people are getting 2 Ghostbuster 1s and not getting a Ghostbusters 2. Is that a little bit more clear, maybe?
Yeah. Something. It's all kinds of fucked
I
up. How
think you're
about
right.
that?
I think on one end, they fucked up, had the first movie in, and they loaded it up in the second film, and then they had the space left over when they loaded up the first copy, for the next round, and so they ended
Yeah.
up getting a bunch of 2s in the first movie. I think you're 100% right there. And
I
if
mean,
somebody wasn't paying attention down the line doing their QC job,
yep.
that's how they get fucked up. And it could just be like maybe 10 discs were fucked up and they have to check every 10th disc or something.
Yeah, we don't know how many
We
this
don't know
actually
how that
happened
works
to.
there.
One picture does not mean every copy. So we just don't know.
I have not personally had anybody come to me and tell me they have had this problem yet. I've only seen a few people on Twitter. So this
Mhm.
does not seem to be a mass spread problem.
Yeah.
The bigger problem seems to be the people that are upset about the box set not having the lights and stuff like that, or the digital codes in the foreign releases, which
But I was going to say that's not a US or North American issue it seems. So,
it seems to be, yeah. So
yeah.
on that case, I can understand it as we explained with that. Again, not much you can do about that. That has probably to do more with shipping and other things. So,
Mhm.
but we are going to be giving away a code for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Before I forget, we're gonna have to come up with some kind of trivia or something. What do you think? Uh,
Yeah, your code, your call.
hmm, I'll have to think on that. But we're gonna have to come up with it pretty soon here. Now, is there any questions that you guys had for us in the chat? I think I saw at least one here from before. Let's see here. Maybe not. Maybe we got everything so far,
Let's
pretty
see. I'm going to
much.
pull up and I'm looking at the chat on my phone cuz I know I've been having some wacky internet issues the last week. It's and I keep speed testing it, and it's definitely it's not it's not the speeds that I'm paying for, which is not cheap. It's kind of pissing me off. So, and nobody's in the house right now. It's just me. So it's
Uh-huh.
not like
Awesome.
Renegade Junior is streaming with Fat Steven, which
Yeah, I don't
he's
know.
been doing
It's
that, by
just
the
it's
way.
just randomly.
So, yeah, or so like he's doing a game stream and he's got a YouTube window open on a second computer, and my
Yeah.
wife's watching TV in the bedroom, and my daughters are on their own computer streaming something. That's when it kind of gets goofy. But like right now, nobody's in the house, and I'm still seemingly having issues, which is not too
Yeah,
good.
and Christy Moisey, if I'm saying that right, says what QC. I don't think the company that packaged those knows what quality control is. You're right, and it could only be a few
Might
that
have
got
been.
messed up, but another one in the long line of the QC issues we've had with Blu-rays in the last few months. Now, this is not something that anybody can do outside of the factory to help with necessarily, but I think Culture and Valiant and I have talked about this in the past, and I know other people and I have too, like um, Greg over at Fanzine, about how if some of these companies, especially these boutique companies, they could kill two birds with one stone with this QC problem.
Hmm.
They could be sending out a lot of early copies to us reviewers, and then if there's QC problems, we can tell them up front,
Yeah,
and also then have it to review ahead of time, and then that way, if they have to fix something, they get that before these things go out.
yeah.
Because I can't imagine the price of fixing these. Because like right now over at Criterion, they've already taken. I don't know what the situation is with them. I was hoping that Robert Meyer Burnett was going to be able to join us here someday soon, and he said he's going to try tonight, but he's not home yet. But like he might know some more about what's going on. But like Criterion's been losing a lot of their titles to Kino and stuff lately, so I don't know if they're having some financial issues or what, but I can't imagine these QC problems are going to make any of that shit better. Like when you have one of these kind of problems, you could probably toss most of the profit you've made off of any of these discs out the door. I can guarantee you
Oh,
that.
but depending on how widespread the problem is and what
Yeah.
the severity of it, for sure. Yeah.
And I mean,
Oh,
Shelf
absolutely.
Factory has had quite a few in the last few months, going back as far as even the Friday the 13th box set. There was two discs there that got fucked up.
Hmm.
And this has been a common problem, and I really do feel like that would be the easiest and cheapest way for the companies to deal with this. And then like I said, then they don't have to send out a bunch more you know preview copies or anything like that, because we've already technically seen them. We can go under the assumption, or they can send us a new copy if they want to re QC it. But at the same time, you're getting it done. You're not paying somebody to QC something, because clearly if you are, they're not doing their fucking job. I mean, like, and again, I hate to say it. I'm not trying to make it sound like somebody's not doing their job. They could also be overworked. That's another
Hmm.
thing, is these facilities, because I've talked to a lot of people, and that's the other thing they remind me of too, is that you've got one person who used to do 12 people doing 12 people's jobs, right?
Hmm.
Like that's the other problem you have right now in the industry. So these QC problems can happen more and more often because you just have so much overload and not enough money and facility and people to do anything about it. I mean, there was a lot of problems I've noticed with other discs that were just minor stuff in the past too, that I'm just like, how did this get through? But that's the answer, is because they're just too overworked and overloaded,
Yeah. Well, it may be the case, but no, I
or
think
they're
you're
not
right.
hiring decent people too. That's the other problem.
Yeah, and look, some things will slip through the cracks. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, even in the automated machine world. I mean, stuff happens, but I mean, we don't know how widespread this issue is. And I saw Six in the chat you know, look like you got a box set too, and you went and checked your disc. So I'm glad
Yeah, I
you're okay.
checked mine twice
I
just to make
don't.
sure.
Yeah, because it seemed like I did too, and I was like, it seemed like this was not really a problem for North America. It seemed like this was more of an issue overseas, in different distribution
I
areas.
mean, I
At
guess
least
a
I
few
think.
people have, but again, I haven't seen enough of them for me to say it's a huge, huge problem yet. But Luca, I got some good news for you. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are already on 4K.
Hmm.
So there you go. You don't have to wait. You can go get them now if you want it. I thought I saw another question here. I keep thinking I see questions, and then uh, let's see here.
Yeah, I'm looking too.
Uh, I got to come up with a trivia question. That's the main thing, man. All right. In the US, I'm assuming this is only going to work in the US. It might work in Canada, but I can't guarantee it. But I got a code for Ghostbusters Afterlife to give away. Let's see here.
Yeah, see
What
somebody
should I
mentioned about the
ask?
digital download codes. Yes, as far as Ghostbusters that shall not be named of the
Mhm.
unspecified year by unspecified director. Yeah, you that's the only way is they have a digital download code in the box set. Just don't redeem the code and Paul Feig probably won't get paid.
Indeed.
It's a bonus feature.
Yeah. Okay, I got a quick one. Ghostbusters originally started as a reunion for what film directed by Ivan Reitman? And if somebody doesn't get it right away, I have a hint.
Nope.
Give everybody
I
a few
see one.
minutes.
That's what I thought, kind of, but I see some answers coming in.
Cedar stuff. Got it. There you go. Stripes. Indeed. Yes. But John Candy had to drop out.
Yep.
Or
Actually,
he
I
didn't want
think
it. Well, it's a long
Luca
story.
Rocks beat him to the punch, it looks like.
Oh, did Luca? Where did I miss
Yeah.
it? Oh, he
Check
did.
up.
He did. Oh, yeah, did.
Yep.
Luca, you got it. I'm so sorry. Uh, but you know
Yeah.
what? I think somebody
Sorry,
else sent
Cedar, but
me.
we gotta be fair.
That's
So
okay. I think I have another code too, if anything. Let me check here. Because I think somebody sent me one the other day. Now that you reminded me of that. Let me look here. Where did they send it to? I can't remember. You know what though? Both of you reach out to me on Twitter. I will try and find that other code I had too. I'll get you both a code. Okay, don't worry about that. Reach out to me on Twitter at Tom Connors or Thomas Connors Jr. Just like you see here on the screen. That's my Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, I also have an email. I'll put that in the chat there. Just let me know who you are, and then I'll make sure you guys get the codes here. So I should have another one here somewhere, if not. So I'll work something out one way or the other. So Luca and who was the other one? I said Cedar stuff.
Cedar,
Okay,
yeah.
because that was my fault. Luca got it first, but
It's okay. The chat was moving quick at that point, and
yeah,
I happened to scroll up and I saw, okay, yeah, there's Cedar, and then it went a little past it, and then I was like, oh wait, Luca actually got about 4 chats ahead. So it happens. Man, when that stuff goes, it's hard for us to see because you got to remember we're several seconds ahead. Y'all are delayed from where we are, so by the time we're looking, a lot of the chat has gone by. So
Did you beat Cedar? I don't know. Let me see. On our end, you're right after Cedar.
yep, we're looking at the order of when things hit the chat in the
Yeah.
chain. Yeah, so Luca got in there, and then Cedar.
And yep, Boba Fett, that is correct. Eddie Murphy was supposed to be Winston.
Yep.
And then that didn't work out because he decided he was going to go do Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that movie didn't make any money. That was a shame.
And Six says on yeah, okay. So yeah, if you did on your end, I'm sorry about that, buddy. But yeah, looks like the photo finish doesn't look like that. Sorry. Well, no, I'm not really dismissing any problems. We just say that without it knowing why, the best we can guess is that it has more to do with the batteries and the LEDs factor. As far as the digital codes, when I order stuff from overseas, I very rarely get a digital code with anything. Once in a great while do I get a digital code. And that was usually just the Disney films.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I understand it's frustrating, but all we can do is we don't have all the answers, but we're trying to speculate a little bit on what may have been the issue, and that's this is just thinking on the fly. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I
No,
wish
I'm
they
not
could get
dismissing
it
it.
to you.
But no, I do agree with you that and this is the thing is we're trying to bring attention to it.
Exactly.
So, but I do understand your concern there, and yeah, it's not cool. It is definitely not cool. Gabriel Knight says, "Will they ever re-release the original Old Boy? Got a copy off eBay. I half expect it won't work when it arrives. Can't even find a place to stream it. I've not heard anything about Old Boy in a while. Not even sure who owns it right offhand. Hasn't it been released before in the US?
I don't know. If it's a Blu-ray, you might have issue depending on regions from and what kind of player you have. If it's 4K, most 4K is pretty region free nowadays. I don't think there's been much of an issue.
I don't think it's ever been released on 4K. It's probably an older Blu-ray.
If it is, then you could potentially have an issue. Just depends. Check your player.
Yeah, if you stick it in and it says it will not play because of the region thing, get a hold of me in private and I might be able to help you with a few things. There's options. So it's not something I can really get into. It'd be boring for everybody on top of it all. So, but yeah, no, if it's one of those things, let me know. Reach out to me, Gabriel, and I'll gladly help you out. If it's a problem you have, I'll do the best I can anyway. And with that, yeah, the slip covers are very, very nice. I was happy to I was happy to see them do it that way. I was glad that even though the special features are in a folder kind of case, I'm glad that they didn't do that to the rest of the films because that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't heard any updates on Beverly Hills Cop 4 yet. I believe though, the last I heard that the guys who were doing, who did, trying to remember, I think it was the guys who did Bad Boys for Life who were attached to it last I knew, unless I'm thinking of something else. But no, I haven't heard anything on that. So, let's see here. I think we're pretty much caught up otherwise, though. So yeah, you guys who won, reach out to me and I'll get you those codes and we'll get that all squared away. Let's see here. What is Ryan Spengler saying? Someone buys that charity answer the call code on eBay. Hopefully he hears about it and flips about it. Yeah. What's this about a charity code now? Let's see here. I saw you say something earlier here, Ryan. Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh, maybe I didn't see it. That's not it. Well, I don't know what's going on with this charity thing. You'll have to fill me in, but
yeah, I don't know that one.
See, yeah. Arrow have Old Boy. Okay, is that in the US or just outside of the US? And yes, Groundhog Day has a 4K release. It does. I wished I got a chance to watch it today. I don't think I'm going to.
I'll probably watch that tonight when I get in bed. Just turn it on. You know, it should be like a Christmas Story. Like today, it should be on a 24-hour loop on TBS or something. You know. I saw the article today. Did Punxsutawney Phil die? I saw something.
Oh no, I hope not.
Or it might have been. I glanced at it and I didn't read the article, but I seem to remember when I saw it. It's like that. I didn't initially think it was a joke. It might have been one of these goofs, but I don't know. I didn't know if you'd heard any. I'm just bringing it up. Did anybody in the chat see that, or am I imagining this? I thought I saw this somewhere this morning.
I saw some, but I wasn't sure. Bizarre. I wasn't sure what it was, but yeah, because I've been so busy with other things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh no! Well, I guess apparently not.
No, he saw a shadow.
Okay.
It was another one, not Phil. Okay.
All
right. That makes sense. Oh no! I hope that's not true. That is horrible if that's true. Oh no! And yes, Luca, you heard the correct on that one. Yes. There is a Christmas Story sequel with Peter Billingsley in the works. So that'll be interesting to see. Oh, nice cartoon, man. That's cool. I do love the 4K of the thing, though. Oh my God, does that look gorgeous?
Okay, that just so we can all have a moment of silence for Milltown Mel. That was the groundhog that passed away yesterday, as it seems. I guess he
didn't really get dropped, did he?
No, I'm sure not.
I hope not.
I guess this is also in Pennsylvania. Obviously, it's Milltown, New Jersey. I see. So they do their own tradition. Of course, this is not Punxsutawney Phil. So okay.
There's an answer the code call for $1 million on eBay that goes all this. Who the fuck would pay that much?
Oh my God.
Like, did anybody actually bid on it yet, Ryan? Or they just... Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
No, No, it's obviously meant to be a complete joke.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess there's that aspect of it, trying to turn a negative of the movie into a positive. No, I'm all for giving money to the kids, but that's like
I
a counter. Like you're never going to get anybody to. Who would spend $1 million on that?
yeah,
And
Paul
Killer Bee
Feig.
is being awesome and has a code here in the chat for anybody who wants one. There you go. Awesome sauce. And I'm going to be working on getting all the others who won here their codes here soon.
You could post
After the
that code
show.
on Twitter right now, and by this time next week, it still won't have been
Oh
redeemed.
no, this is Afterlife.
Oh, I'm sorry. After
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you said
No,
answer
that's
the
what I said. He's
call.
being an uber and
Okay.
awesome dude. I think it's a dude. Sorry if it's not. And giving
I'm
away
sorry.
a code for free.
I
Cool, cool.
misread that.
No, that's all right, man.
Yeah.
$1 million. Oh shit. Now's your chance to help the kids, Paul. That's right. Pay back some of the money.
That's
you
what I was
owe
saying.
Sony.
Paul Feig's only got to go out there and he's spent $1 million to get a download code.
You
for his
know,
own
if he
shit
actually
movie.
did that, I'd have to give him some credit, but that'd be all.
Oh, absolutely.
And okay,
absolutely.
I'm glad. I didn't want to misgender anybody. That's cool. All right. So with that, and yeah, I rarely use them myself, but I already bought it digitally a month ago, so you know. I found the answer to the call is for charity St. Jude. Okay. Yeah, we kind of got that. Is anybody actually bidding on it yet, though, is my question. Is it actually up to $1 million? Is that what's going on?
No, there's no way. That's probably like
I mean, I could see that considering it's for a charity.
Buy it now. Okay, let's
yeah, that's another trilogy that yeah, they'll probably do on UHD eventually, Austin Powers, I bet. And you can use the code on Vudu or Amazon. Usually if you go to like if you have like a Movies Anywhere account that hooks up to all your stuff. So yeah. And Cartoon Man is a trans-dimensional sausage. There you go. Slimer Snap's like, well, just donate directly. Why buy that? Like, yeah, like who wants that? Yeah, I mean, I'm giving to St. Jude's just directly. I wouldn't buy that though. That's weird.
I don't see anything, but then again, who knows?
Oh, well, anyway, I think we're going to wrap this up, but I really appreciate everybody being here today. It's been a fun show talking about Ghostbusters and stuff, and I can't wait to dig into this box set. I feel bad for those overseas who got shafted on the set. You got robbed a bit. They really should have brought down the price if that was going to be the case. So I do agree with you, Dan Blackroyd. That was a big misstep on Sony's part or whoever's fault it is. I mean, I can understand if they can't ship things like that with the batteries in it, but they need to be upfront with that. They need to be more upfront with that.
Yeah.
Because the version they advertised was not the version some people got, and that's totally a fair gripe, and especially for that price. But as far as them not producing it again, that's another thing I think is shitty, but hey, I can understand because of how complicated and expensive these probably are. But if, in the very least, if they put out another box set later down the road that has all the special features that are here present in it, I think at least some fans will be happy with that. Because there is just so much special features on here. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have enough of a demand for it for them to go, because I don't know how many copies of this box set here that they produced. I mean, let's assume for a second that they made.
Oh no, girl. Yeah, hopefully they can replace that, but I don't know if they can now. Yeah.
Let me tell you. Well, you know, that's an interesting point because mine came from Amazon too, and I bet you got, because this pissed me off, and thank God it's got one little ding in the corner, but it's enough. I'm not freaking out.
Walmart did a good job shipping mine.
You know what they sent this in? This pissed me off. Now I order from Amazon all the time. I get stuff at the house. I could get a $5 paperback book for one of my kids for school, and they'll send that damn thing in a box this big, a solid cardboard box. They take a $150 box set and they wrapped it in one of those damn gray plastic Amazon bags.
Welcome to the world that I bitch about them almost every time they send me something collectible or something like that. Oh, that's why I go away from Amazon more and more recently.
Stupidest thing I've ever seen, and I can't believe it's like when I picked it up, I'm like, what is it? And I opened it, I'm like, oh, you're kidding me? They did not just pack this thing, because I mean, they chunking this around the back of the truck. You're gonna get it banged up, beat up, scratched, scuffed, crushed, and I mean, and that's exactly the point. Is that they may not have the capacity to replace them right now. I had stuff coming from Amazon for Christmas presents. They sent me two of the same toy in a row where the
Six
packaging
says
was
hers came in a
completely
paper bag,
damaged.
a brown paper bag.
Yeah. Six, I don't know. I mean, it's not, they don't usually divulge that information. I mean, there's some
No.
websites like the numbers or other
Honestly,
places
if I
that
had to
over
put a
time they'll
number
put
on
out
this,
total
they probably made
sales.
like 25,000 of them, and that's about it probably. Maybe 50.
Hopefully more than that. But I mean,
I
but
don't
that's
know. I
just it.
really don't.
Unless they feel like there's another 25 or 50 or whatever that number was, 100,000 potential sales out there for them to go back and just make. They can't just go back and make another 5,000 of these because the economies of scale for doing that aren't there. If they did that, they'd have to charge $200 for the box set. So if it has to be, if they made 50,000 of these things and there's 10,000 people out there right now clamoring for it, or that's what they estimate, then they can't go back and do it. If there's another 40,000 out there in that example, then they could, because why not? But the economies of scale has to be there. They can't just go make another few hundred copies to satisfy a few people. But I think it's more than a few.
Yeah, because they're looking at had they would have to do. That's why I think they're saying they're not going to do it again.
Right. And that's why Tom is talking about they'll probably release a box set, but this special, like this trap thing is what the expense is here. That's the difficulty to reproduce that again, unless it's in a large enough quantity of scale there. But yeah, they can make a 3-pack of the discs, put them in a slip sleeve, and go here with the special
Or a
features.
four
That's
pack with the special features. Yeah.
yeah, 3 movies and the special features, put them in a slipcase and ship them out. But as far as getting this snazzy thing,
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that's what they're referring to when they're not going to be making it again. I could be
yeah,
wrong, but I do have a strong feeling that, much like the Karate Kid box set, we'll just get like a set that's just these.
right,
Like that's it.
exactly. Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, in a box.
Yep.
So
And
I'm not for sure, but I'm just guessing because I don't think Sony, because they know there's money to be made in that.
sure.
They clearly saw that this probably sold much more than they thought. That's another thing they probably got caught kind of off guard with how fast and how many of these they sold.
Oh yeah, if
So
Sony thought they were going to sell out of this in 2 days, you damn well better believe they would have made a ton
they would
more.
have doubled the production, I'm sure. See, that's the other
At
problem is,
least.
yeah,
Yeah.
now because I mean I've looked at this kind of stuff for certain things we've had to do, and it's one of those situations where you talk to these companies and depending on what you're doing, it costs X amount if you do this many, but if you want to do this many, it's that much more, and blah blah blah. But you get them this cheaper. So I'm sure Sony's not seeing it as a viable thing to do again with the boxes. And I'm not making excuses for them. I can just understand where that comes from. It sucks.
Yeah.
They should have, thought ahead of this and maybe done more they kind of should have known just from like the way the things like the toys and the popcorn things sold for AMC and shit like that. Like, I mean, I get it. The movie didn't do nearly as well as they were probably hoping, but considering the response to this box set when they just put out the first initial like tease for it, I think they really should have reevaluated where they were sitting with how many of these they had.
Mhm. Yeah, it's and if they'd had a longer lead time on the pre-orders, they probably would have been able to address it, but
You're right. I think that was another thing is that kind of got rushed too, probably.
yeah, well, I mean, it's like Afterlife hit, and then what was it? Late December, I
Yeah,
think.
we're in a whole new arena. We've never seen movies come to home video this fast before, and it's all because of the
No,
current climate we're in and shit like that.
and
This
that's
is
part of the
the quickest
problem.
I've ever seen movies come to video that in my life, really.
Yeah, and this folks is one of the pitfalls is that you make a special edition, there's not nearly enough time to anticipate what the real demand is going to be. And in this case, Sony just got caught with their pants down on the supply side. And there's no way within, I mean, by the time they put this out for pre-order 2 months ago, I think we started talking about this, maybe if even that long. That the pre-orders were just slamming in, and by the time the discs were, made available, it was done. That was it. They were gone. And there was nothing Sony could have done in that month or two to just run out and make more of these things. I don't think there's just not enough time. Again, we're talking about the scale that we are. Um,
Yeah, I
it's a
don't know.
shame.
I mean, it would be nice if somebody would from Sony would go out and say, "This is the situation. This is why we're not doing it again. Don't worry, folks. We're going to be releasing a more
And they might.
stand." But then again, they might not because. But
Yeah.
yes and no. Here's the thing: they have the trilogy that's just the movies themselves, but that's Blu-ray and DVD. They don't have a 4K standard set out there that I know of. So that's why I'm still thinking that that's the possibility that's in the cards yet.
Yeah.
It's just they're probably it's gonna take them a little bit to get it out there again because it depends on how they plan this whole thing. So
Yeah.
for those though who didn't get it up front, I really feel bad for you. For those who have gotten fucked up ones, I feel bad for you. For those who have gotten the wrong discs, I feel bad for you as well. But overall, I still can't knock Sony. They put together, arguably at this point, with seeing all the special features, I'm going to safely say this is probably the best box set I've ever seen for a movie as far as special features go. We're not even talking about the design aspect,
Yeah.
right?
I'm
I'm talking
looking
about
forward
all
to
the
it.
goodies that are in it. And this is the first time part 2 has really gotten much love. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, even Lord of the Rings, it beats Lord of the Rings special features. It's better than any Shout or Scream Factory box set that we've had so far, even the Halloween or the Friday the 13th, regardless. I know that's a tall order to say, but it just kind of does, even though we don't get any alternate versions of the movies themselves per se outside of the early cut and the TV versions of 1 and 2 and the early cut of part 1. I mean, frankly, with all the deleted scenes, the dailies we get here, I just can't imagine them putting anything more than they did into this box set. I'm going through all this stuff, and there is so much stuff in this. Some
Yeah.
of the stuff I've never seen before, so I know a lot of this is new stuff.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. And the last remark I'll make about it, I forgot to mention this earlier. I will say that I think the thing that impressed me about the Afterlife disc the most, as much as I really thought that visually it was a good delivery, the soundtrack is stunning. I mean, now I wasn't even my reference system here as far as video is concerned is I'm just on a 2-channel system. You can see the speakers behind me. These old Joseph Audio RMS 25i signatures. They're 30 years old, and they were amazing back then. They're still amazing now. And it's got a Cambridge 2-channel integrated amp they're strapped to. So I'm just listening to this in stereo. Yeah, there's a Martin Logan sub down there, but most of the time on movies like this, I listen to soundtracks, and especially with the heavy action and the post-production sound effects, things like the proton packs and all the sounds
mhm.
associated with that. The sound gets muddied up. I mean, even the best soundtracks, you lose dialogue here. The bass is usually very muddy. Everything in this sound design was sharp as a tack and tight as hell. I mean, just even from the opening scene with Spangler, every thump, thud, all the low bass registers were very tight. I mean, there was no mud whatsoever. It was one of the most, I think, impressively done soundtracks that I've heard in a while for a movie. And I will say that Blu-ray scored that a 5 out of 5 on the audio. I'd have given it a 6 out of 5 if I could have. But I have not listened to it in surround yet, but I'm just talking from an overall sound quality aspect. It was very impressive. Very. I mean, whoever did that mastering for that should probably, I mean, at least be nominated for a sound editing Oscar.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole movie, but I watched part of the opening scene, and yeah, the sound is amazing.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean, there's
mean,
been some really great soundtracks done now, especially now that they're utilizing Dolby Atmos a lot more. And
yeah. Well, I've listened to a lot of Dolby Atmos, and none of them. I mean, and don't get me wrong, some of them have been extremely good. Now, like I said, I haven't finished watching Dune on Blu-ray or 4K yet, which I didn't want to judge the soundtrack based on what I had coming through HBO Max way back when it came out, because that soundtrack, I mean, obviously there's a ton of bass registers in that. It does get muddy and a little bit boomy, and to where it's like this not very well defined bass. The Ghostbuster stuff, I mean, that has a lot of bass in it, and it's extremely well defined. It's very sharp. It just doesn't sound like whoa, 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 whoa in your room like some of these soundtracks do when they put in just a bunch of heavy bass to make an explosion or to make some big thing happening. Um, but the audio, as far as like the voices and everything, Very clear, very well placed on the soundstage. I really, like I said, this soundtrack really impressed the crap out of me. And I used to do a lot of high end audio stuff. Back in the old days, we used to sell a lot of high end audio systems. This is the kind of stuff that we would blow customers away with.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. And yeah, as Six says, great soundtrack on top of the music wise. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So
Oh
good
no,
deal.
that sucks, Ryan. I'm sad to hear that. Damn it. Ugh. Oh well. Maybe on a future release. But I saw that Jedi Master posted about Wayne's World. That was something I was curious about, if it was actually getting a new version or not. Don't look like it. Sad to say, I kind of figured. Jay Raybold, Tom, how would you compare this to the Ghostbusters Ultimate NES? I don't remember the Ultimate NES that much, so I really can't tell you, Jay. I'm sorry. Do you remember that at all?
Mm-mm. What the ultimate?
Nintendo Entertainment System. Yeah.
Oh God. No, I don't.
I only played one Ghostbuster game way back when, and that's all I remember.
I
I
have
barely remember
Ghostbusters
it.
for Atari 2600 down there.
Yeah.
Like seriously, it's right there. So that wasn't quite as bad as ET. They were terrible at making movie-based video games way back then. They were just stupid.
Yeah. Johnny, that'd be kind of cool. We should get like you, Valiant, Robert Meyer Burnett,
That
Chris
would be fun.
Gore,
Like
a couple of us
giving out
together,
the
and all like
Blu-ray.
kind of sit down and just kind of vote and nominate, for the year, the best Blu-rays on this and that and the other. I think it'd be kind of cool.
That would be fun. Do it around the same time as the Oscars every year.
That's what I was saying, Gabriel. I remember the NES Ghostbusters game being terrible.
I don't remember it.
Like, it was horrible, but
probably because I had played the freaking Atari 2600 one right before it came out, and I was like, well, that one sucked. I'm not going to buy the Nintendo.
I was still kind of bummed we didn't get a 3D release of Afterlife, and I'm even more bummed now that you alerted me that it's a 2K up convert.
Like I said, yeah, but like I'll put it this way, like I said, I really wasn't at all disappointed with how that disc looked. I really wasn't. Like I said, I could nitpick. Okay, this scene could have had a little bit more resolve in the facial textures, and overall, like I said, very pleased with it, because the big thing about this movie is you need to have a very strong color palette delivery, and you need to have good dynamic range, because there's so many stops of dynamic range in this, going from the deepest shadows to all the highlight. That was another thing. None of the highlights were blown out, like all the stuff with the proton pack, and all that kind of thing, and everything was just, nothing looked like it was overexposed and blown out. I think the HDR grading really did an amazing job. I was very pleased with it. I really have nothing to complain about.
Great. I can't wait to check it out. But with that, I think we're going to wrap this up now, because I'm going to head over, I think, to Sporking News and fill in for Culture Casino, because he's feeling under the weather. But tomorrow, there's something special going on for you. We're not having a Mead tomorrow, folks. For those who are listening right now and are interested in watching us on Mead, tomorrow we're not doing Mead, and that is because, why, Valiant? It's all your fault.
It is my fault. I'm sorry. No, folks out there, Tom at Midnight's Edge were very gracious enough. My schedule's kind of goofy now. This is not going to be a regular thing for me on a Thursday night, but I did want to try to have my first year anniversary live stream for Valliant Renegade this week. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the U.S. So over on my channel at Valliant Renegade, 6 p.m. live show. We're gonna have hopefully a bunch of guests. I've got a lot of folks I've invited. I'm having not really managed a live stream of that scale before, or any of them, to be frank. If anything goes wrong, you can blame Mexican Iron Man, because he's gonna be running the show. So
As much as I love him, I don't know if I could ever blame anything on him.
No, Mike's gonna do a great job. That's why I have him there, because I need somebody to help me out. So we're going to have a bunch of
I love him
folks,
so much, I don't think I ever could. That's what I meant to say.
No, I know what you mean. I got you. So yeah, look, we're just gonna goof off. No particular agenda. Topic of conversations come up as they are. It's just there to have fun. To really thank everybody out there. Thank you guys in the audience that have been supporting me, and friends like Tom and some of my other friends out there that have supported me. Getting to this point. So that's it. Come on by and have some fun tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on Valliant Renegade.
Awesome. And Ryan wants everyone to go out and tell Feig that he needs to buy that charity Answer the Call code. Emmy will be on the national news if that happens. I don't know about being on the national news, but hey.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's whatever.
Right? We'll definitely take credit for it.
He responded to me 2 or 3 times on Twitter.
I know. I couldn't believe that shit.
So maybe I should hit him back and be like, "Hey, Paul, I hear that you can make a great charitable donation to St. Jude."
Not only that, honestly, and here's the thing: is I know people would think that we wouldn't, but I'd be like, see if you can get him for an interview.
I have said as much as stuff that happens on YouTube, the people that we talk about in the media and the stories, I am never opposed to having anybody on my channel to have a conversation, whatever the case may be. I mean, it's obviously
Right.
dealing with the topics that we cover. I don't want something off the wall, but that being said, I don't care if somebody has an issue with things I've said or things, stories I've done or whatever the case is. It's like, hey, you want to talk and have a respectful conversation, dude, I'm all for it. Let's do it. So yeah, if he would want to come on, better chance of getting him on a place like your channel because of the size. I think that'd be better. But yeah, absolutely, have the conversation.
Yeah, and I don't think you bombard him or try and trap him or give him a gotcha, but I think you'd probably be in a fair way, at least express the feelings that most people would have, and I think that's something he needs to hear.
Well, I even said that because I made a joke about when they said that and this goes back, folks that didn't know the story. Very quickly here, when they announced that this box set that we're talking about tonight was coming out, and that it was not going to include Feig's 2016 movie. Feig then punched back on Twitter almost immediately, and then the next day Sony came out and said, well, it's going to be in there. And then it was kind of slipped in a little after that digital code only, like no actual physical in here, download. Well, Feig, of course, got upset and all this kind of stuff. And then in the interim, I made a joke about, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to cancel my box set then because I don't want Feig's stupid movie. And I didn't say that. I didn't say the Feig part. I just said, I guess I'm going to cancel my order. Feig wound up responding to my tweet out of the blue. And I had to do a triple take like, are you fucking kidding me? And he kept 2 or 3 times he responded. But my response to him after a while, he's like, well, go ahead and don't buy it. I'm like, well, maybe not. Or whatever I said, I don't remember. But at one point, I wrote him back and I said, look, isn't it nice that we can have a polite conversation without and disagree without calling each other names? And he liked the comment. And I'm like, well, there you go. So why do you have to get out here and shit
I think
on the
that's
fans?
a good starting point, though. I think that's really a point where you can maybe leap off of. But
yeah.
No, well, we'll see what happens, and maybe next week we'll both have had time to dive into this box set, and we'll give you a bit more of an in-depth analysis of it.
Absolutely.
Because then we got to gear up for Godfather.
Oh yeah.
And then, did you see the preview for The Offer yet?
No.
That Paramount Plus series that's about the making of The Godfather.
Mm-mm.
Oh, check out the trailer for that after we get done here, man.
I will.
Type in it's The Offer.
Okay.
It's a 10-episode miniseries from Paramount Plus. It's got Miles Teller. Can't remember half the other people. Dan Fogler's playing Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
It looks pretty good. I can't wait to check it out. So I think you'll be interested. So yeah, and I believe that's part of the reason why the box set's coming out too. It's to help kind of cross promote. But yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna dive into the box.
Okay, good.
Maybe by this time next week, Feig will have made the charitable donation. We'll never know. I think it'd be more interesting to see if we can get Valliant to talk to him. Because I think it's a great idea. Because you're not the kind of guy that I don't think you'd be a dickhole about it, but I think you'd make decent points, and you may actually get through to the guy.
We'll talk about it.
I don't know if I could put up with him for more than 10 minutes.
Well, that's the other thing.
I'm not
So
going to deny that shit.
yeah, I know that's the other thing. It's kind
Yeah,
of
Michael
like
Tolkien's making it. That's right. Do you know who that is? He's the guy who made The Player. So if you ever seen
okay,
The Player, yeah. So,
I
all
can
right,
check that
kids, I
out.
think we're going to wrap this up because I'm
Yep,
sure Valiant's got stuff to do, and I got to head on over to
yep,
Sporking
got kids
News
to pick up.
and other stuff to do. So, thank you so much, kids, for being here. We appreciate you, and take care of yourselves and each other. Good
Take
night.
care.